Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto gains all 9 Bijuu and the ultimate Sharingan, part 4. Subscribe if you enjoy the video, let's start the story. Naruto stood quietly on a rock as he stared at the Sanbi no Kyodai game, three-tailed giant turtle, while water dripped down the beast's body. The three tails primarily resembles a turtle, but with a crab-like shell and 3 shrimp-like tails. It has a pair of human arms and hands, but no hind legs. Its right eye is constantly closed, indicating some sort of injury, and because of this, it is particularly vulnerable to attacks directed at its right eye. I can't say that this form is an improvement, since you look like something Yugito-chan threw up from eating bad shellfish. The blonde taunted and snarled angrily at being insulted. You puny insects. Even now that I reveal my true form to you, you still mock me. I'll make sure that you suffer for this and will be the prime example that those who go against me will die. Yugura growled out and unleashed a roar so powerful that the shockwave split the water and sent sand flying in different directions. Naruto's hair swayed back from the roar but remained on the rock he was standing on until it died down. Phew dude, you need to lay off the fish. There's a new invention that was made and I believe it is called a mint. Naruto replied and for emphasis waved his hand in front of his face in a disgusted manner. Yugura growled and raised his large hand into the air and over Naruto's form and brought it down fast and hard, and when it landed, it caused the earth to shake violently. Yugura raised his enlarged hand in order to see the smear that he made, but only saw his imprint. The Sanbi growled and looked around for its prey. Naruto was sitting on the beast's head with his right hand covered in lightning chakra and it was light blue. Rain. Chikito Ikazuchi, lightning releases. Raging thunder. Powerful volts of electricity shot around Yugura's Sanbi body, causing them to howl out in agony, as countless volts of electricity hit every single part of its body simultaneously. After the technique ended, Naruto leapt off the beast's head and landed in front of the beast who snarls and sweeps at Naruto who simply phases through the arm, and then the water hybrid attempts to backhand him, only for Naruto to simply stop the beast's arm with one hand. Such a mindless beast you are, Yugura-chan. Naruto chastises and grabs a hold of one of its large fingers and slowly lifts it out of the water. Someone should teach you some manners. He then tosses him over his shoulder and slams him into the sandy rocky shores, sending waves of sand and pieces of rocks everywhere. Let's take this fight somewhere less wet. Naruto suggested as she activated his eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Kamui, might of the gods. The area around them ripples and Yugura is sucked into a void instantly and the ripples end. Naruto warps away afterwards. A few seconds later a ripple appears around some village ruins that were caused by the civil war and a vortex appears. Coming down from it was none other than Yugura in Sanbi form and came crashing down into the village heart. Naruto appeared on top of a destroyed building with his eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. There, this will do. He's out of his element and there are no people around. The Sanbi gets back on its feet and snarls as it looks around for Naruto. Said lets out a loud whistle. Yugura turns his head to see Naruto grinning and flipping him off, and the transformed Mizukage growls and picks up a large boulder. Naruto ends his charade and starts to get serious. His chakra flares and morphs into a yellow layer of what appeared to be cloaked armor with lightning static coursing around it. I gotta remind myself to thank Ii-sensei for teaching me this technique. He said to himself as the Raiden no Yoroi, lightning release armor, flared up causing his hair to spike up as well, similar to how Ii spiked up when he fought Sasuke. The Sanbi roars and chucks the boulder at Naruto. Said blonde reared his fist back and let out a battle cry as he swung his fist forward and smashed the boulder to pieces. The Sanbi then grabbed a large building and chucked it at Naruto who vanished while the building smashed the location Naruto was at and appeared over Yugura's form with his right leg raised. Gyurichin Darapu, guillotine drop. Naruto cries out and performs a downward kick on his opponent. The heel of his foot slams down onto the water hybrid skull and sends him crashing into the ground, creating a 20-foot wide crater that causes dust and debris to fly in different directions. Naruto lands in front of the down with his armor still active until a large grey hand shoots out and attempts to grab Naruto, but the blonde cuts off 3 of its fingers, causing the beast to howl in pain. And he leaps into the air. Pain. Kiryu-enden, fire release. Dragon flame missile. He unleashes a stream of white-hot fire that hits the Sanbi hard, making the beast roar in anger as his skin was scorched by the hot flames. After it ended, Naruto landed behind one of the tails and dodged the one that tried to squash him, and then the other attempted to, but he leapt into the air doing an aerial somersault and then slammed his chakra-enhanced fist into the beast's shell, causing it to crack. Yugura was getting frustrated and unleashed a roar so powerful that it sent a shock wave around the entire area and destroyed everything around it. Naruto was sent flying off its back and crashing through 3 wrecked buildings, but he flips backwards and lands back on his feet, skidding backwards and shaking the cobwebs out of his head. Okay, now he's pissed. He stated and leapt on top of a destroyed rooftop and saw Yugura's form with its head raised and was gathering positive black chakra no chakra and negative white chakra, Minasu no Shiro chakra, shape it into a sphere and then compress it inside its mouth. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw the compressed chakra get bigger and bigger. Is he nuts? That Amari, menacing ball, has enough power behind it to level a quarter of water country, he said as the ball became larger. But the rebel faction. Yugura Kagaya had just run Kiri Anbu through with her bone blade and kicked him off the building and sensed something powerful. She turned her head and her eyes widened in disbelief when she saw a large sphere made of energy. "Oh Kami, no, he wouldn't," she said in horror while Benkei landed beside her. Yugura, we managed to gain control of the eastern sector of. He saw the horrified look on her face and wondered what she was looking at until his expression became similar to her. No, that attack, it's. Mei, Inishi, and the others also saw the menacing ball and couldn't believe what Yugura was about to do. No, Yugura doesn't do it. Mei begged. Yujito too was shocked by the size of the ball. That menacing ball is too unstable. If he completes it, half of water country will become a charred barren wasteland. The vessel for Nibi stated while the other ninja, both rebel and enemy, each had horrified looks on their faces. No, the Mizukage wouldn't, one Kiri Jonin stated. Hitomi cursed and sped off, heading to where Naruto and Yugura were, as did the other leaders and Naruto's family. The ground around Yugura's beast form started to tremble and debris started to slowly rise from the power emitting from the ball of compressed energy. Naruto's train of thought was running a mile a minute. Damn it, how do I stop that? If I hit him and he drops that attack, this place will become a giant crater, but if his fires it, half of water country will be destroyed and there's no way I'm using the Kuchius. Yataikuzashi no Jutsu, summoning. Food cart destroyer technique. Come on, Naruto, think, damn it. He said to himself until the idea flashed in his head. Got it. He then pulls out a tri-pronged kunai that had a black seal tag with white seal formulas on it. I just hope I got this down all the way. He prayed. The leaders, as well as their allies, made it to the ruins and they saw Sanbi roar as the energy ball was now twice as big as it was. Hey, is that Naruto? Anko asked as she saw the blonde. Kushina's eyes widened in fear as she saw her son not moving away from the attack. What is he doing? Aniki got out of there, Shinku said to herself. Dynamic is. Sanbi Amari, 3-tailed menacing ball. Yugura roared and fired the chakra blast. Everyone hit the ground. Mei screamed and they each got down. The menacing ball made its way towards Naruto, making debris scattered due to its speed and velocity. Not gonna happen, Naruto said as he went through a series of fast-paced hand seals with a tri-pronged kunai in his hand. As it got closer and was about to hit the blonde, it appeared to get absorbed into what appeared to be a barrier with kanji seals stretching outwards and sucking the attack in. What? Impossible. That was my strongest attack. Yugura roared in disbelief and anger as his menacing ball was now completely gone and saw that Naruto held a Hiraishin kunai in both hands. Mei was the first to look up and saw nothing happened aside from the large trenches in the ground and saw Naruto was completely unharmed. The other ninja looked up and their eyes bugged when they saw nothing. What the? How did he do it? Inishi asked only to hear an explosion occur and they looked back to see a light blue domed form on top of the ocean and saw large waves crashing into the rocky cliffs and the ground trembling. How did he do that? Yugao wondered while Kakashi remained silent. That was a Jikiken Kekai ninjutsu, space-time barrier technique, and it was similar to Minato sensei's. When did Naruto learn how to do Jikiken jutsu? And that time I saw his eyes change. He thought as he narrowed his eyes and then they widened in disbelief at what he saw. Both of Naruto's eyes were similar to the Manjikyu Sharingan. So he did have the Sharingan and the Manjikyu form no less. How did he gain them? Yugura's bestial form let out a roar of frustration and lunged at Naruto, who remained in his position and calm. What's he doing? He'll get crushed, Kagura stated. Naruto got out of there, Kari cried as the Sanbi cocked its fist back and roared while swinging it forward only for a golden ethereal skeletal hand to stop the fist. What the? Yugura said in disbelief. This has gone on for too long, Naruto said in a calm yet cold tone. A flaming chakra with a red outline flared around his body and grew until a skeletal figure manifested around Naruto. I never thought I'd have to use this against a beast like you, especially since this is my first time using it. The skeletal figure's eyes glowed red and muscle and tissue fabricated and coiled around the figure. Giving it a humanoid form until armor that represented the one samurai wore in the feudal era formed around the body until the armored helmet took on the form of a fox head with jagged teeth that appeared to be snarling. Strapped to its ash was a katana. The armored hand suddenly swatted the hand away and struck the straight in the face and sent the beast crashing through several buildings. Unfortunately, I don't have time to play around, so I'm gonna end this quickly or else this entire country will be reduced to a barren wasteland. Yugura says hello to Susanoo, god of the raging storm. The ethereal spirit reaches for its katana and draws the sword and it ignites onto an ethereal flaming blade. Yugura shoots out of the rubble roaring in pure rage and charges blindly at Naruto. Just like a mindless beast to charge into a fight blindly. Naruto stated while an ethereal shield formed around Susanoo's left arm. The Sanbi crashed right into the shield which barely blew Susanoo back and they got into a battle of strength. Susanoo uses the shield to knock Sanbi away and swings the blade downwards, penetrating the shell and cutting through skin. What is that blade and how can it hurt me in my Bijuu state? Yugura wailed out as he backed off and swiped at the ethereal spirit that blocked the attack with the shield and then hacked off the beast's arm. Another agonizing wail escaped from its lips and attempted to regrow the arm only for Naruto to hack off a piece of its shell and perform a series of slashes across its body. Yugura staggered around trying to stand firm with its one arm. He tried to regrow the arm, but nothing happened. What in the? I can't recover my arm. What did you do to me, you damn brat? He roared out only for the ethereal blade to be plunged into its skull and freeze up. It's done. Naruto said calmly while the ethereal spirit started to pull the blade backwards and started to slowly absorb the Sanbi. What are you doing? Yugura asked as it struggled to get away only for it to get sucked in a lot faster. I'm draining you of your beast's chakra. Naruto said as more of Yugura's beast form started to get sucked in. No. Stop this at once. Stop. He cried out as more of it got sucked into the blade until Yugura could be seen on one knee. After sucking away the beast's chakra, Susanoo sheathed its blade. This war is over, Yugura, and your reign is history. Naruto said as he took a step forwards only for his eyes to widen as he felt an untold amount of pain rack his entire body. He suddenly gripped his shirt and he vomited out a glob full of blood. Everyone's eyes widened when they saw this and Hitomi cursed under her breath. Damn it. I warned him that it was too soon to use that technique even if he is the new Juubi. She said to herself. What's going on? He was fine not too long ago and now he's on the ground coughing up blood. Mei started and looked at Kushina who was shocked beyond belief. Kushina, did Naruto gain any type of disease by any chance? She asked the Raidid who shook her head. No, he and Shinku have been healthy since the day they were born and haven't gotten any form of disease at all. She answered. Naruto collapsed on one knee and started to cough up blood for a few seconds while Susanoo receded into its skeletal form. He looked at the ground and saw his vision was getting blurry. Damn it. I should have taken Hitomi-chan's advice and not use Susanoo until my body could adjust to my powers. He slowly got back on his feet, attempting to brush off the pain while Susanoo got back into its humanoid form. Yugura got back on his feet with bloody murder in his eyes. Damn you, boy. Do you realize what you've done? You ruined everything. He screamed and pulled out a series of kunai with tags connected to them and threw them. They made contact and exploded, but when the smoke cleared, a shield was protecting Naruto, who was talking towards Yugura's shocked form until he snapped out of it and fired a series of large water bullets that hit the shield, but they were shrugged off. He staggered back and his knees became wobbly. Your chakra is almost gone, Yugura. Give up. Naruto said calmly as his body tensed up in pain, but he attempted to shake it off. Yugura snarled and pulled his hooked staff. Never. He cried and leapt into the air with the staff raised over his head. He attempted to drive the blade into the shield only for it to be deflected and sent him crashing into the ground while he lost his weapon. Susanoo receded and the aura around Naruto faded and he deactivated his eyes. When Yugura got up again, a fingerless gloved hand wrapped around his throat and slammed him into a concrete wall. Naruto cocked his fist back and slammed it into Yugura's gut, making him cough out blood. Naruto then did a ram seal and activated his Sharingan, making Yugura's eyes widened as he gazed into them and saw the spin rapidly. Kai. Naruto called out, causing Yugura's eyes to snap out of their glazed form. The blonde then raised his hand back and purple flames engulfed the tips which are the kanji for metal, wood, fire, earth, and wind. Gajo Fuin, 5 elemental seal. Naruto called out and slammed his fingertips around the cage's stomach, making him gasp out in pain and then slump over into unconsciousness. But Madara. The man was in an underground base sitting cross-legged in the shadows until his Sharingan eyes snapped open. What is this? Someone has removed the Genjutsu I placed on Yugura, but that's impossible. He then made an attempt to perform a ram seal only for a pair of Sharingan eyes to appear before him glowing, and he let out a gasp. No way, there is someone out there who wields a Sharingan that matches mine in terms of power, but that can't be right. He said to himself and narrowed his eyes in the shadows. It matters not, for whomever did this will pay dearly. Back with Naruto. Naruto dropped the man onto the ground until he coughed out more blood and fell to his knees, clutching onto the area where his heart is, and started to cough violently. Naruto. Kushina cried out and about to leap off the cliff, only to see another red blur appear beside the blonde kneeling down while he gritted his teeth in pain. Her and everyone's eyes widened when they saw 9 foxtails and fox ears on her person and knelt down beside Naruto. Kushina snapped out of her stupor and headed towards their location, as did the others. Said blonde was coughing out blood violently while holding his chest in pain. I warned you not to use that technique so soon, Naruto. Your body is not yet ready to fully use it yet, even if you are the new Jubi. Luckily you don't have to worry about shortening your lifespan. She stated while he spat some blood out of his mouth and looked at her weakly. The next time I make a stupid mistake like this, beat some sense into me. He stated, and the last thing he saw before he met darkness was his family heading towards them. 2 weeks later. The first thing Naruto saw as he opened his eyes was the inside of a white tent. He let out a groan and slowly sat up, shaking the drowsiness out of his head, and blinked a few times, realizing he was in a recovery room. He looked down to see his shirt was gone, but he still had on his pants. Beside his bed was Hitomi in her kid form curled up. The blonde smiled and reached out and gently pats her on the top of her head. She stirs in her sleep and opens her eyes to see a smiling Naruto. "Hey." Was all he said before she morphed into her hybrid form and pulled him into a hug while he let out a grunt but patted her on the back. "It's about time you woke up. Your family and friends were getting worried sick," she stated while he brushed his hair back and placed his feet on the floor. "How long was I out?" Naruto asked Hitomi, who sat down on a chair. 2 weeks. The ones who were on Yugura's side surrendered after Susanoo absorbed Yugura's beast form and sealed off the rest of his chakra. With that, I also explained to your mother and the others how I am free but still bonded to you," she explained. "I've got a lot of explaining to do, huh?" he asked and got a nod from her. "Oh well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. Where's my gear?" he asked Hitomi, who pointed to a large scroll and duffel bag that was beside another chair. After he got dressed, he exited out of the tent and before he knew it, he was tackled and glumped by 2 blurs, Akakari and Yujito Nai. Naruto grunted once again and patted them on the back. "Hey ladies." He strained out while they released him, but then got a brain duster to the skull by Yujito. "Ow. What was that for?" he cried out, clutching his head and glaring at Yujito, who glared back. "For being a baka. You were out for 2 whole weeks and had us worried you were a jerk," she replied in an angry yet worried tone. "Your mom and sister have been restless while you were out, so if I were you I'd get to them first." Naruto's eyes widened and looked ashamed for worrying about them like that. "Sorry. That was my first time using that when I fought Yugura and I wanted to end the fight as soon as possible. I didn't want to use my transformation because I'd only be causing needless damage and harm to anyone who got caught in the crossfire." He apologized while she huffs up and still glares at him. "You may be a baka, but at least you're a caring baka," Carrie said with a smile on her face. "Now go see your family before I kick your ass." Naruto smirks and gives her a salute and warps away. Kakashi was currently leaning against a tree reading his Icha book and Naruto appeared. Kakashi looked up and saw Naruto. "Good to see you awake, Naruto. Kushina and Shinku are worried sick over you," he started and Naruto rubbed the back of his head. "Yeah, I know. Yujito informed me and I already got a brain duster to the head by Yugi-chan," he states while Kakashi chuckles, but afterwards, a serious expression forms on his face. "Also Naruto, I think you'll need to explain about how you possessed the Sharingan when you fought Yugura and why Kyuubi is out of the seal roaming around," he replied and a serious expression formed on Naruto's face as well. "I will in due time, Nai-san, but for now I just want to see my family," he replied. Kakashi's eyes smiled and nodded at Naruto. "And so that you know, Naruto, I'm proud of you," Kakashi said while Naruto smiled and nodded a thanks before walking towards one of the tents. As he opened the flaps, he saw Shinku sleeping in one of the hammocks peacefully and walked over to her and knelt down. He pushed a strand of hair aside and gave her a kiss on the forehead just like he did when they were younger. She stirred in her sleep and slowly opened her eyes to see her twin eyes smiling. She rubbed her eyes in order to get a better view of her brother and her eyes widened. "Hey Nikki?" she asked and Naruto nodded in return. Tears formed around her eyes and the next thing he knew she leapt off the hammock and tackled him, but he managed to keep his footing while she sobbed into his chest, muffling how happy she was to see him up and okay. Naruto smiled and returned the hug. Sorry I worried you like that, Shinku-chan. Naruto apologized. Where's Kasan and the others? He asked as he released her while she wiped the tears from her eyes. That was when he was pulled into a bone-crushing hug by his sobbing mother, and both Anko and Rin joined in, crushing the life out of Naruto, who was turning blue. Lina can't breathe. He stained out to the three sobbing women. Kakashi on the other hand was chuckling while Yuga's sweat dropped and looked at her leader. Ano-senpai, shouldn't we help Naruto-kun out before he dies from their hugs? She asked the son of the White Fang, who shook his head. No, that would be bad for me, Yuga-chan. Kushina, Anko, and Rin-chan are dangerous when angry. Can you imagine how they'll react if I tried to separate them from Naruto? He asked his former subordinate, who pondered on this but paled and shuddered. Good point. She replied. After that little scene, Naruto led them into a secluded sector of the forest. Hey, why did you lead us in the middle of nowhere? Anko asked, and that was when Hitomi appeared before them. Took you long enough, Hitomi-chan. Were you trying to hunt for rabbits again? He asked in an annoyed tone, which made her rub the back of her head and smile sheepishly. When the others saw Hitomi, they got into a fighting stance, ready for a fight. Whoa, everyone chills out. No need to make this place into a warzone, Naruto said, getting in front of Hitomi. This is the thanks I get for helping out in the war. I'm hurt, she said with a pout on her face while her ears dropped. But Naruto-kun, how do you know she won't turn on us? Rin asked the blonde, who sighs. Simple, Ni-chan. 1. She can't and won't attack unless I say she can. 2. We are bonded by the seal, so I can put her back in the seal if I want to, and 3. His eyes closed, confusing them for a few seconds, and then he opened them, revealing the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan and causing everyone to gasp when they saw his eyes. I can use the power of my eyes to stop her from going berserk. Sachi, your eyes. What happened to your eyes? Kushina asked Naruto, whose expression went from serious to sorrowful. He then went through a few hand signs, and a purple dome surrounded them. There, that way now one can listen into what I'm about to explain or enter this barrier without getting scorched, he stated. What do you mean, Aniki? Shinku asked Naruto. Trust me, it's for everyone's safety, especially with all the powerful enemies that hate Konoha, as well as our family Yamato. Naruto answered. Now I want each and every one of you to look directly into my eyes. He instructed, and they did. The next thing they knew, they were in a world where the sky was blood red, as was the moon that had a black outline around it. The ground was black and gray with white outlines, and when the others looked at themselves, they too were black with white outlines. What in the world? Anko asked while looking at her hands, and the others. Relaxing, Anko-chan, Naruto-kun just brought us into his realm. Hitomi stated while Naruto appears in a swirl of fire, but he was in the form he had in his timeline. He wore a pair of Anbu cargo pants with Anbu-styled sandals, a dark green jonin flak jacket, and a version of his father's cape that had the kanji for Rakudame Hokage, 6 Fire Shadow, Nidain Kairoi Senkou Second Yellow Flash, and Kami no Sharingan, God of the Copy We Lies, on the back. He looked like an older version of his father, but the difference was the cerulean eyes had slit pupils, and canines jutted from his upper lip, which gave him a handsome yet feral appearance. Kakashi's and Rin's eyes bug out when they see this version of Naruto, while Anko, Yugura, and without realizing it, Kushina and Shinku were blushing. She's right. The one that I used is an illusion called Tsukiyomi. In this realm I control time, space, as well as the physical mass. I have absolute control over this realm, Naruto stated, and with a snap of his fingers, the world changes. The sky was midnight blue with shining stars and a glowing white moon, and they were now in an open field, and they were in their normal color. This is a secondary version of the Tsukiyomi I discovered while training how to use my eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. Interesting, but it doesn't explain how you gained those eyes in the first place, Naruto. Was what you used against Yugura an effect of those eyes? Kakashi asked Naruto, who nodded. Yes, that I used was called Susanoo, the strongest offensive and defensive force that belonged to the Uchiha clan. As for how I gained them, I am not from this timeline, he answered, making their eyes widen. Instead of explaining it, I'll show you. So for the next couple of hours, Kushina, Shinku, Rin, Kakashi, Anko, Yugura, and Hitomi watched the events that occurred in Naruto's life. How Minato and Kushina died, sealing Hitomi into him, how the villagers wanted him killed and was treated like dirt since the day he could speak and walk while trying to gain their acknowledgement. They also saw his first mission to Wave Country, the exams, invasion planned by Orochimaru, retrieving Tsunade and Sasuke when he deserted the village, etc. Afterwards they saw him when he was 16 and returned back to Konoha after training with Jiraiya and his family's techniques and learning fighting the Akatsuki until they started the Fourth Shinobi War, where the 5 elementals united to fight the organization with Naruto. As the Rakudame Hokage and leader of the allied forces and the battle where the ninja from each nation fought and died to their last breath. The last thing they saw was Naruto fighting Madara and Sasuke with him gaining the upper hand until the ancient Uchiha pulled a sneak attack. Afterwards, they all saw where they attempted to remove the last Bijuu from his body with a demonic-looking statue in order to resurrect the Jubi, only for Naruto to create a powerful seal that reversed the technique and absorbed the other 8 Bijuu, as well as Madara and Sasuke. Gaining their knowledge, eyes, and powers, as well absorbing the Jubi's powers and soul, becoming the new Jubi in the process. After watching this they found themselves back in the real world and remained silent for a while. "My Kami, all of that actually happened to you?" Anko asked and got a nod from Naruto. "So Madara Uchiha was the one responsible for everything that happened?" Kushina said in a tone full of hatred and anger while clenching her fists. "Yes, he was pulling everything from the shadows and the reason why the world is in its current state. He believes it is his right to be the ruler of the world and a god amongst men. That cynical arrogant bastard actually thought he had the right to play with others' lives but paid the ultimate price and now his power is my power," Naruto answered. "So does that mean he's alive in this timeline?" Rin asked Naruto and Hitomi growled. "Yes, he is. Even in his weakened state that accursed used those damn eyes of his to make me go berserk and attack your village. He even managed to cast a Yondaime Mizukage in a powerful genjutsu and control his actions which resulted in the bloodline genocide to happen. That man is an evil incarnate and I swear the next time I meet him I'll make his death slow and extremely painful," the nine-tailed vixen snarled out. Naruto placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "All in due time, Hitomi-chan. There are others aside from Madara that we have to worry about, like Orochimaru and Danzo for example." He started getting grim expressions from the others. "The Akatsuki won't be active for a while, which means the Snake and the Warhawk will be making attempts to destroy Konoha in their own way. They must be taken out of the picture as soon as possible, and then there's the other Jinchuriki that need to be warned," the blonde explained to them. "Easier said than done," Anko said. "Danzo can easily eliminate any traces that are connected to him or his organization, and Orochimaru hasn't been spotted for a long time." Naruto on the other hand smirks. "Oh, I already know where Orochimaru is hiding, and Danzo he'll be dealt with soon. That man has been a thorn in my family's side for too long, and I plan on ripping his vile heart out with my bare hands," Naruto said darkly. "But what about the other Jinchuriki and Nikki? We already know Yujido and Kurabi hold the Nibi and Hachibi and that Yugura is the holder of the Sanbi, but we don't know where the others are," Shiku asked Naruto, who once again grinned. "That is why having the knowledge of the eye-stealing team has its strong points. I already know who the vessel of the Ichibi is since here is Iden's son Agakure and is the Yondaime Kazukiya's younger son. The vessel for the Rakubi is traveling around the neutral countries, the Nanabi is residing in Takigakure, and the vessels for the Yonbi and Gobi are in self-exile in Iwagakure," he explained, getting gobsmacked looks from them all. "So what do you intend to do?" Yugao asked Naruto, who brushed his hair back. "Hopefully I can get into contact with them before the Akatsuki can get their locations and capture them, and afterwards I need to deal with Orochimaru since he and his Sound Village won't be operational for about a year and at the very least destroy some of his bases. All in all, I have my hands full," he said and deactivated the barrier and stood up. "But for now let's go enjoy the celebration with the rebels and ending this war," he said, smiling while they all did the same. "And this time I will make sure history doesn't repeat itself." Yugura was in a recovery room groaning from the slight exhaustion he was feeling. He slowly opened his eyes and saw the white ceiling and slowly sat up wearing a hospital robe and rubbing his head in slight pain and then looked around. "What in the world? Where am I?" he asked himself. "So you're finally up, Yugura-san?" He looked in the corner and stepping out of the shadows was Naruto. "If I may ask, who are you?" he asked the blonde Jubi, who smiled back. "I'm a friend as well as the one who freed you from what you were put in," Naruto stated. Yugura frowned and blinked in confusion. "Genjutsu? I don't remember." He paused for a moment and his eyes widened. "Wait, I do remember seeing a pair of crimson-red eyes with 3 tomo-like markings surrounding the pupil and after that nothing. Were they similar to these?" Naruto asked as he activated his Sharingan and Yugura's eyes widened. "Yes, exactly like those eyes, but the man who wielded them wore an amber-like mask. The only thing I can remember is saying that my actions will bring his goals into fruition and everything after that is a blank," the vessel for the 3 tails replied. "What has happened since then?" Yugura asked Naruto, who now had a grim expression on his face. Naruto started to explain to Yugura what has happened since he was placed under the and how he was forced to start the bloodline genocide war which took a lot of lives. After explaining everything that happened, Yugura was appalled and disgusted with himself. I can't believe all of this has happened to my village and my people. What have I done? He said quietly and placed a hand over his face. Yugura-san, you were not the one to blame for the events that have happened. The man who controlled you is responsible for this. He did this to weaken your village, and wherever he is hiding he will be dealt with. Naruto said to the Mizukage, who removed his hand from his face and let out an agonizing sigh. I may not have been responsible for this, but still the villagers and the shinobi who were under my rule won't accept me as their leader anymore. I have no other choice but to step down and pass my title on to another. One who can restore our village back into its prime, but the question is who? Yugura wondered. I have a suggestion for who can become the next Mizukage. Naruto replied, and Yugura looked at the blonde. Why not have Mei Terumi become the Goddamn Mizukage? She has the qualities to be a great leader, and she was the one who led the rebellion forces for so many years. That, and she possesses two powers that would make her a foe not to trifle with. Yugura looked at the wall for a moment and rubbed his chin in thought. Mei Terumi? Yes, I remember meeting her when we were kids. She was compassionate and friendly to others, but she also had a fiery temper and emitted an aura that screamed, I'll kill you if you cross me. He replied, which made Naruto chuckle. Ain't that the truth, since females, especially those who are kunoichi, can be more dangerous than even I should know, because I'm living with 6 of them. Naruto started with humor in his voice, while in parts of the reconstructed village Kushina, Hitomi, Shinku, Anko, Yugao, and Rin each sneezed. Anyhow, would you like me to get her for you? Naruto asked the vessel for the Sanbi, and he nodded. Naruto warped out of the room, and a few minutes later, he appeared with a sheepish Mei and Naruto, who was sporting a black eye, which made Yugura blink in confusion. What happened? Was all he asked while Naruto's eye healed. She sucker punched me thinking I was one of her fans. Naruto muttered. Remember to not get on your bad side, because I don't want to be on the receiving end of your right hook again. Mei blushed in embarrassment and rubbed her arm. I said I was sorry about Naruto-kun. She apologized. Sorry doesn't stop the throbbing. He said with a pout, and that was when she leaned over and kissed the side of his face. Does that help? She asked cheekily while his face heated up, and he responded by warping away, making her chuckle. Still the flirt, I see. Yugura commented, and she shrugged. He is cute for his age, and in a few years he's gonna be a heartthrob for women everywhere. So what is it you wanted to talk to me about? She asked Yugura. Gurigakure, Market District. Samui and Yujito had just assisted some of the construction workers in moving some debris in order to clear the streets, and were now sitting down and hydrating themselves by drinking out of water bottles. We've made quite a mess, Yujito. Samui asked her fellow blonde, who nodded and wiped a bead of sweat off her head. I can't believe I had to use Nibi's chakra so much. I need to up my training some more when we get back to Kumo. She said to herself while Samui nodded in agreement. Naruto appeared behind them via time warp, and then he draped his arm over their shoulders. Hey ladies. Naruto said with a grin on his face. The female blonde saw the new Jubi grinning at them, and they smiled back. Hey Foxy, shouldn't you be helping with the reconstruction? Samui asked Naruto. I just helped clear the southern section of the market district not too long ago. What can't I check up on my tensions? He asked cheekily, which made Samui blush a little and looked away while Yujito rolled her eyes, but smiled. You're such a baka, I swear. Always worried about others, but yourself. She stated, but grinned. And that's what I like about you. She said and bumped her hips against his. I know. So Samui-chan, has your back been suffering going through all this labor? Naruto asked, and she nodded. Care for a massage? His offer got him an instant nod from her, so he moved behind her and started to work on her shoulders. Ain't no fair, why does she get one? Yujito asked with a pout on her face and was inwardly fuming at her fellow blondes. Because Yugi-chan, your shoulders and back can easily heal from any strain or aches thanks to a certain cat sealed inside of you. Naruto answered back while Samui moaned in relief as Naruto worked the kinks and aches out of her shoulders and back. Yujito huffed at that statement while Nibi snickered at how her vessel was acting like a little kid. That, and if you haven't noticed her, you know what's are a lot heavier than yours. He stated, which made Samui's blush increase while Yujito's brows twitched dangerously. Just what are you insinuating? She asked in a strained tone that promised pain beyond belief. Naruto blinked a couple of times in confusion. Me? Nothing, I'm just stating that her body hasn't fully adjusted to her developing yet. He answered, which made Yujito look stumped. So you weren't making fun of the size of my chest? She asked Naruto, who raised a brow and blushed a little. No, why would I? Your chest is fine. He answered back. He stopped messaging Samui's shoulders and back, making her wonder why he stopped, but then a giggle escaped her lips due to the fact that Naruto was tickling her sides. And to be honest, it really doesn't matter to me what your cup size is. I mean, Carrie-chan is an example of that, and if you tell her I said that, then I'll tell Kurabi that he needs to up your training via 2. And if I recall, the last time you guys sparred you had to spend a whole month in the hospital. He threatened, which made her pale and the pout with her arms crossed under her chest. He stopped tickling Samui, who turned her head and gave him a playful glare as he released her. Thanks. Naruto, I have a question for you. She asked. What? You're gonna ask me out? He asked humorously, only to be slapped lightly on the shoulder. I'm serious, you baka. By any chance you're the last of your clan, right? She asked Naruto, who nodded. So that places you under the Kra, where you can have multiple wives, right? Again the blonde wielder of the ultimate Sharingan pondered on this and again nodded. Yes, but I'm not just the last male Namikaze. He stated, which confused Samui. I'm actually the last of 4 other clans. This right there made her and Yujito's eyes widened. You see, back then there existed a clan known as the Uzumaki. Like the Namikazes, they were respected and feared for their skills in and also possessed a bloodline that gave them a strong life force. They also had the ability to suppress a Bijuu's chakra like Hashirama could, but they used chakra chains. Not only that, but they were also distant relatives of the Senju clan, meaning that I'm also related to the Senju clan through my mother, who is the great-granddaughter of Mito Uzumaki and Hashirama Senju. He explained, which made their eyes bug out, thinking he was screwing with them, but by the serious look on his face they knew he wasn't kidding. Ikami, then that means you're related to 3 of the 4 of Konoha. Yujito states, but then smirks. Man, oh man, those bakas from that village would without a doubt raise a huge stink over this if they found out about this. Naruto shrugs at her statement while Samui ponders something. You said there was a 4th clan that was related to Naruto-kun. What other clan aside from those 3 are you related to? She asked her fellow blonde. Naruto closed his eyes and when he opened them back up, revealing the fully mature Sharingan. I was bound to reveal this sooner or later. These are the eyes that made the clan respected and feared. But how? How do you possess the Sharingan? A stumped Yujito asked Naruto, who sighs and brushes his hair back. I'll explain that when we get back to Kumo, and so that you know, these eyes weren't transplanted. I've had them since I was 6 but kept them hidden for a good reason. He answered. Samui remained quiet for a while but then smiled. Carrie was right. You are without a doubt one of the most surprising ninja in the world. Naruto deactivated his eyes and smiled. What can I say? Unpredictability is my forte. He stated until a swirl of fire appeared beside him and when it died out, it revealed none other than Hitomi in her hybrid form. Speaking of which, Hitomi, where were you at? Naruto asked the vixen. Oh, I was out patrolling the forest and I found something that might interest you. She said with a toothy grin on her face. Naruto on the other hand raised an eyebrow. Oh? And what would that be? He asked while she turned to the other 2. Sorry, but I'm gonna borrow Naruto-kun from you for a while. Ja. They disappeared via flame shunshin, leaving a confused Yujito and Samui. They suddenly appeared in the middle of the forest and Naruto was confused with why she brought him here. Okay, is there any reason why we're in the middle of the forest? He asked Hitomi. She walked over to a large tree and she simply slammed her fist into the tree, making it shake, and falling from it was a man who seemed to be wearing a black cloak with red clouds on it. He has short green hair, yellow eyes, and that his body has 2 different colored halves. His left side is completely white and the right side black. Unlike the white side, which shows a normal mouth, nose, and eye, the black side shows no visible orifices at all and only shows the iris of the eye. The black half also has white dots along the edges of his body where the 2 halves meet. These are not flat markings, but rather protrude from his body, like little white bumps, and also have unusually rounded teeth. His fingernails are painted pink and his toenails are blue. He also wears his Akatsuki ring on the right little finger. It was Zetsu, a spy for the Akatsuki, and from the looks of it, he was a torn and bloody mess and was being restrained by what looked like razor-sharp chains that were impaled into him and in different areas of his body. The groan escaped from his lips while Naruto's eyes widened for a few seconds and then narrowed. Where did you find him exactly? He asked in an edged tone and her grin grew even more. I found this little fly trap snooping around the outskirts of the construction. He tried to get away, but I ripped him out of the ground before he had the chance to escape and well, I wanted to see if I could make him beg for mercy as I used my claws on him. After doing that for a while I got bored and restrained him with some chains I created out of my metal elements and left him out to hang for a while. She explained while flexing her claws. She cupped his face in her hand and lightly shook it. If only you were here to hear him whimper like the dog he is and call out for Madara-sama. She spat the name out like it was vile and then slapped him hard. Wake the hell up, you eggplant, before I decide to turn you into a human salad. Zetsu looked up and saw a pissed off Hitomi and was attempting to get out of the chains. Why hello Zetsu. Did you enjoy your little game of hide and seek with Natsumi? Naruto asked the plant man who turned his head to Naruto. Yondaime? Zetsu asked in a strained voice only for Naruto to chuckle. Sorry, but that's my old man. So I'm guessing Madara sent you here to find out about his disconnection to Yugura, huh? This question caused Zetsu to remain shocked that this kid knew about a man who was said to be dead. Don't look so surprised. I know all about Madara and his little group of S-class ninja who want to collect the Bijuu. Now then, I don't have any time to interrogate you right now, but trust me when I say that coward will regret what he has done to me, this country, and my family. Naruto said in a cold tone and activated his eternal Manjikyu Sharingan so that you all know it's a combination of Madara's and Sasuke's EMS. Now then, I'll take your ring. Naruto grabbed the man's wrist while he channeled some lightning chakra into his hand and placed it over Zetsu's forearm. Afterwards, he did a slashing motion and severed Zetsu's right hand. The next thing the spy knew was that he was sucked into a swirling vortex and was gone. Naruto then sealed the arm away into a small scroll while he deactivated his eyes. That's one annoyance out of the way for now. He then turned to Hitomi, who apparently had a hint of lust in her eyes and shivered slightly. Do you have any idea how hot you are when you're pissed? She said as she walked over to him and wrapped her arms around his neck. Naruto tilted her chin up and their eyes met. At ease my vixen. You'll get the chance to get with me soon. He said and kissed her lightly on the lips. Fine, but know this Naruto-kun, if anyone is gonna be the alpha female of your future family or bear your kids first, it's gonna be me. She said and poked him on the chest with her index finger. So what about your mother and sister? You do realize that, as the new Jubi, your DNA won't match theirs, right? I mean, if they actually want to be with you in terms as mates, then it wouldn't be considered incest. You can still use the abilities of the 4 clans you're aligned with though. Naruto pondered on this and sighs. My life just keeps getting more and more complicated. I'm pretty sure I can convince Shinku to go with it, but Kushina on the other hand will be a little difficult since the only person she's ever been with is Toussaint. He stated while Hitomi shrugged. Oh, I think she'll change her mind, especially how she saw what you looked like when you were 18 years old in your timeline. She said with a grin on her face. Naruto on the other hand snorted. I don't think she would be that simple-minded, Hitomi. He said while she blinked and tilted her head sideways. It has nothing to do with being a simple-minded, Naruto-kun. Believe it or not, females, both human, goddess and even demon, are attracted to males with strength. You're an alpha above alphas, and being of such status will mean they'll gain strong heirs in order for the clan to grow once more, so don't be so surprised if you catch them both gaining feelings for you. She explained while the blonde took this info in. Wow. I guess I still have a lot to learn when it comes to being a true alpha, huh? He asked the vixen, who nodded. To be perfectly honest, despite my past life, I never had the chance to actually find a female who'd want to be with me aside from you. Though your past self died during the process, the Jubi soul was reformed into me and merged with my soul, as well as its abilities. It was mostly because we were at war with that prick and the traitor. Hitomi blinked a few times and tilted her head to the side a little. She was about to speak up until she and Naruto sensed someone watching them. Shinji-san, it's rude to be spying on a fellow ally. He called and said. Devil of the Mist appeared, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. Sorry. An old habit I picked up when me and Zabuza were members of the Anbu Assassins Division. He apologized and glanced at Hitomi. I never thought I'd meet the most powerful up close without fearing for my life. Last I heard his old man sealed you inside of him. Said Vixen shrugs and brushes a bang back. What? Did you expect some bloodthirsty monster who is hell-bent on razing villages to the ground and devouring for the fun of it? She asked in a bored tone. Shinji snorted at the statement and shook his head. I may be human, but I'm not short-minded when it comes to her in the blonde Gaki's case. I've seen my fair share of what humans are capable of doing to each other. He answered. Ain't that the truth? The clan are one example, especially since they do anything to gain power, even if it means killing family in order to do so. A cursed clan with a cursed bloodline. I can see the perks of having such powerful eyes on your side, but the cost in my opinion is too great. Anyways, is there something you need? Naruto asked the Zanbato-wielding shinobi. Yeah. It involves my brother currently being a missing nin. Even though he is in the bingo book for the failed assassination attempt with the state our village is in, we'll need him back on our side as soon as possible. Hell, I heard from your mother that the current Raikage would like to ally with Kiri once this war is over. Shinji answered. I see. So you want me to try to find your brother once we leave, correct? Naruto asked the man who nodded. I'll see what I can do. Knowing my luck I'll run into him soon and I can at the very least try to get him to come back to Kiri, though that'll more than likely have to involve a fight between us. Now it was time for Shinji to snort. You think? Zabuza only acknowledges the strong since in our country we respect strength. How do you think Mei became the leader of the rebellion? Though if you do fight him keep all of his limbs intact because I plan on beating the crap out of him once he sets foot into Kiri. Shinji started with an evil gleam in his eyes. Naruto on the other hand sweat drops. Wow. With a brother like him I can see how Zabuza turned out. Then again Kurabi and E-sensei are the same since the youngest one likes to rap bad lyrics while the eldest has the tendency to smash a mountain with his bare hands. He thought. Anyhow we've got the villagers heading back and we're gonna celebrate the end of the war. Shinji said and he, Hitomi and Naruto headed back to the village. For the next couple of days, the rebels and civilians celebrated the end of the Bloodline War. During the event the ninja from Kumo, as well as Kushina and her family were hailed as heroes for assisting in the war and Mei Terumi was given the position of the Gade Mizukage. And Kiri now had the new 7 shinobi swordsmen of the mist back. After the celebration, the Water Daimyo visited Kiri and made Kushina and her family honorary members of Water Country and was working on an alliance with the Lightning Daimyo. Before they left, the famous members of the group were thanked by the nin who knew of their reputation and Mei personally thanked Naruto with a passionate kiss which left said blonde stumped and redder than Hitomi's hair color and during the voyage got teased a lot by Kakashi. And Rin due to the fact that their little brother had won the heart of Kiri's new cage. Kumagakure no Sado, a few days later. After they made it back to Kumo, Kurabi greeted his 4 students by giving all 4 of them a group bear hug, squeezing the life out them, and after that event, Kushina informed him of the rebels succeeding in the war and their leader Mei becoming the Gade Mizukage. And the Water Daimyo thanking them and Kumo for assisting. Yugura was gonna do what Kurabi did and become a guardian for Water Country in an act of redemption, as even though he wasn't responsible for the events that occurred. He wanted to make amends for not being strong enough to fight the influence Madara placed on him. So the daimyos along with the cages were gonna work on an alliance treaty in order for Kiri to come back into power once again. Right now Naruto was in an interrogation room that he asked to borrow with the permission of E and was gonna deal with whom he trapped in his dimension. As he walked into the room his Sharingan formed and created a swirl-like ripple that brought Zetsu, who was bound by chains and seals that kept his chakra fully sealed and was on his knees. Hello Zetsu. I hope you like the accommodations in my dimension for the last few days. He said in a fake tone of kindness, well said Plant Man looked up at Naruto with a glare. Oh calm now don't be like that. I've allowed you to recuperate during those days when I really didn't have to and would have outright killed you. Anyways seeing as you're a member of Akatsuki I'm guessing you were ordered to get the locations of all the current right? Naruto asked Zetsu who remained quiet. Not gonna talk. That's fine with me since it means I'm right about your activities. He said and walked towards a silent Zetsu and crouched down to meet his eye level. I already know about Akatsuki and your real leader. The one responsible for what has happened to Kiri. I believe he was the Sandai Mizukage Madara Uchiha. He said coldly and Zetsu's eyes widened in shock. How do you know about him? He's been off the radar since his loss at the hands of Hashirama. Zetsu asked. A feral grin formed on Naruto's face and he grabbed the man by his hair and pulled him to his eye level. Wouldn't you like to know? I know everything about Akatsuki and I know you have members like Kisame Hashigaki, Sasori of the Red Sands, Kakuzu the Heart Stealer, Deidara the Mad Bomber, and several others including the name and abilities of the figurehead. I believe his name is Painter Nagato. Naruto answered and now Zetsu looked horrified. If you know about us then why capture me? Zetsu asked Naruto. Simple. Your abilities allow you to become one with the land and form anywhere, making you the perfect spy. Until now that is since you're nothing more than an experiment created from the stolen DNA of Hashirama Senju that was taken by Madara after he got his ass kicked big time. That and you'll become a nuisance to me if I allow you to continue with your mission and trying to hunt down my kin. And since I already have your ring I have no use for you so bye bye. Naruto finished with a wave and opened both eyes again, revealing his EMS, and the last thing Zetsu saw was black flames clouding his vision. The next day. Jiraiya had just came to the compound Naruto and the others were staying at in Kumo and when he heard how Naruto defeated the Yandere Mizukage, even when the man used the full power of his, he was beyond stumped but was extremely proud with how far his sensei's kids have progressed. While he was staying at the place, Naruto explained everything to his godfather and how he was from a realm that had fallen to Madara's plan and how he used a powerful to absorb Madara, Sasuke, and reform the Jubi's soul and power and become the new Jubi, as well as gain their knowledge, abilities, and their eyes. He nearly had a heart attack when he saw Hitomi, but Naruto assured the man that she wasn't a threat to anyone. Naruto also informed Jiraiya that in his timeline, he managed to master the sage arts when he trained with the toads and proved it by showing him the true sage mode, but informed the man to keep it a secret since the blonde only used it as a final resort. But used some of its latent abilities in making his body stronger than it naturally is. Another thing Naruto informed the spy master of was that he intended to find the other and warn them and their villages about the Akatsuki so that history doesn't repeat itself. Jiraiya offered to assist Naruto in finding the other containers, such as the Ichibi, Yanbi, Gobi, Rikubi and the Nabi, and Naruto accepted his help. After that, Jiraiya left to get his network to operate in locating the Rikubi first. Right now it was dark, and Naruto was sitting on the rooftop with Hitomi in her kid form curled up in his lap. Said blonde used his hands to gently stroke her back while she purred in content while staring at the glowing full moon. "Should I feel offended by the fact that you're spying on me, Yugura-chan?" Naruto called out and said female swordsman appeared next to him rubbing the back of her head in embarrassment. "Sorry, Naruto-kun. I was just trying to respect your privacy. Oh, who am I kidding, I was spying on you because I was worried about you," she answered with a blush on her face. She then sat down next to him and hugged her legs to her body. "You seem to have a lot on your mind. Is it that obvious?" he asked and she nodded at his question. "Figures. Anko-chan always did say I was too much of a worrywart and needed to chill out." A small smile formed on Yuga's lips and brushed a strand of hair back. "I just want you to know, Naruto-kun, that you don't have to do this by yourself. Carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders isn't a healthy thing to do. You should let those who care about you help," she insisted and watched him look down at his hands and sigh. "You make it sound so easy. Back in my past, I couldn't do anything to save those I cared about. I let them all down during the last war. I was the last member of the Shinobi Alliance alive." He clenches his hands and they start to tremble a little. "I failed my senseis, my parents, and even the only person who ever showed me what it was like to be in love." That was when Yugura wrapped an arm around him and gently pulled him close to her. "Hey, now don't you go pulling a Kakashi on me. What has happened then has happened, and no matter how much we don't want to realize it, your past is then. Instead of looking back, you should look forward since you've been given a second chance to make things right," she explained. "Plus Kushina-sensei will more than likely beat the crap out of you for acting broody for the last couple of days." Naruto twitched at both statements. There were a few things that he feared more than anything minus losing those close to him, and they were an angry Kushina and a sadistic Anko when she had him trapped in a corner. But point. "So aside from wanting to check up on me, is there any other reason why you wanted to see me, Yugura-chan?" he asked with a grin on her face. Said former Anbu blinked in confusion for a while, but then a tint of pink formed on her face. "From the way you're blushing, you wanted to have some alone time with me, right?" he teased me. Hitomi was snickering in her mindscape and Yuga's blush increased. "No, I was just concerned about you, that's all," she stated. "Sure you did. Anko did mention something about you wanting to touch my sword. I never knew you were a closet pervert, Yugura-chan," he said, and she attempted to give him a brain disaster to the head only for her fist to phase through him and she got up cherry-faced, stomping off, cursing Anko for that statement and muttering about blondes while Naruto snickers. "She makes it too easy, huh, Hitomi-chan?" Naruto asked the vixen who nodded. "You keep this up and she'll probably go after you with a sword, you pervert," she answered. "I resent that. I mainly tease and flirt. Kakashi Nai-san and Jiraiya Kyofu are the biggest perverts to ever live," he replied while stroking her back and making her purr in content. Thanks for watching my video, see you next time, till then sayonara.